Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those who have tuned in to the Global Alcohol Policy Alliance Virtual Event 2021. My name is Gianna Gayle Amul, and you can call me Gayle. I am an advisor to Research for Impact Singapore and a PhD student at the University of Geneva, and also Secretary of the Asia Pacific Alcohol Policy Alliance and board member of the Global Alcohol Policy Alliance. So you can see here that I am speaking from both a researcher and an advocate perspective. I will be talking about the alcohol industry CSR and its implications for engagement. First of all, let me give you a context. While there is a growing research about the alcohol industry's corporate social responsibility activities in the global north, there is a lack of research on the global south, particularly in Southeast Asia, where transnational alcohol companies have been expanding operations and where CSR has been increasingly vital to promote the alcohol industry's public image. There's also been insufficient examination of the weak regulatory system on alcohol and the continuous active participation of the alcohol industry in policymaking. This is problematic given that the WHO global strategy to reduce harmful use of alcohol even espoused that the industry can collaborate with states to contribute to the reduction of alcohol harms despite vested commercial interests. This dilemma of the alcohol industry's involvement is exacerbated by estimates that none of the global targets to reduce harmful use of alcohol in the region will be met given notable increases in alcohol per capita consumption from 1990 to 2017 in ASEAN member states. Previous studies on CSR of the alcohol industry have pointed out the commercial and marketing utility of CSR initiatives. CSR activities have been found to frame alcohol-related problems as a personal responsibility, promote voluntary regulation as a preemptive corporate defense, and promote their brands through corporate philanthropy. The alcohol industry CSR activities related to scientific research and policy have also been found instrumental to the industry's commercial interests. Despite this, there is a lack of public health surveillance of the alcohol industry's political strategies, including corporate social responsibility activities. So another context, zooming into the region, transnational alcohol corporations are expanding in ASEAN. Heineken and Carlsberg have the largest market share in the region, and Heineken, Carlsberg, and Diageo's regional headquarters are all located in Singapore, while San Miguel's global headquarters is in the Philippines. These transnational alcohol corporations' local CSR campaigns are anchored in their global CSR strategy, particularly that of Carlsberg, Diageo, and Heineken. CSR for these TACs are often carried out by their company's philanthropic foundations, either global or country-based, although the TACs vary in CSR objectives depending on their markets. Through CSR, these TACs have interactions through joint projects and partnerships, not only with government ministries, but also civil society organizations, academic institutions, charities, and others in the private sector in the ASEAN member states where they operate. I've added in here ThaiBev, which has also strengthened its operations in Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Singapore, and also in Cambodia. Pre-COVID-19, here's a snapshot of alcohol industry CSR, where a total of 78 CSR activities were reported by the 4 TACs in ASEAN member states, some of which are long-term and multi-country programs. Of the 78 CSR activities, 25% involve interacting with both the public and private sectors. Of the 78 CSR activities, 27% involve partnerships between the alcohol industry and the government at various levels in the public sector. 29% involve partnerships between the alcohol industry and civil society organizations, the media, and the private sector. 14% were direct donations, and 8% were directly funded by the alcohol company. While most of the TACs have CSR foundations, some of the TACs also engage directly as donors or funders for specific government and civil society projects as corporate entities, either as partners or stakeholders. A common initiative among the TACs and their foundations are setting up dedicated funds for various objectives, including training, scholarships, research, entrepreneurship, as well as charities and disaster relief. In addition to the short-term and one-off CSR activities, most of the TACs also have long-term CSR initiatives that are often carried out on an annual basis with partners in government and civil society organizations. All these companies have CSR initiatives that they explicitly relate to the SDGs in their annual and sustainability reports. In effect, transnational alcohol corporations have adopted the SDGs in their CSR initiatives, particularly the ones on poverty, hunger, health, education, water, energy, climate, and partnership, among others. Moreover, in disaster-prone and climate-vulnerable Southeast Asia, TACs are also engaged in disaster relief and rehabilitation operations. Some have also engaged and partnered with governments in anti-smuggling initiatives in countries where they operate. All the TACs impose responsibility on their consumers through responsible drinking or responsible consumption as part of their health-related SDG campaigns. These campaigns are centered on alcohol education and road safety campaigns conducted during events that TACs sponsored, including, but not limited to, alcohol-themed festivals, art, music, and dance festivals, Lunar New Year and New Year festivals, cultural and sporting events. In addition to the TACs mentioned, I've also included here San Miguel and its San Miguel Foundation in the Philippines, and 5Ev's sustainability approach, which have also invoked the SDGs in their CSR initiatives. So here we come to the second part of my presentation, which is about the COVID-19 pandemic, having a multiplier effect for transnational and regional alcohol corporation CSR. And this only points to mostly CSR by alcohol corporations in the Philippines, as these are preliminary findings from data collected from 250 news articles covering alcohol corporation CSR in the Philippines from January 2020 to August 2021. This shows us several alcohol industry strategies. Namely, first, they complain that their bottom line has suffered because of pandemic-related restrictions, including on-premise sales in restaurants and bars. Another is an influx of mass and digital marketing campaigns. They have adapted to the new normal using COVID-19 as a hook and promoting their CSR initiatives with their brands. They have also utilized digital platforms to drive sales, including online delivery platforms, including as well the Heineken Grab partnership in the Asia Pacific, and as well as further helping the industry to frame alcohol-related issues in the ambit of individual responsibility, where CSR activities are still mostly focused on alcohol information and education, as well as drink driving prevention. There is also increased offers of partnerships with government agencies and NGOs within the theme of working together to respond to COVID-19, and also lobbying for policy changes during COVID-19, including tax breaks and moratoriums on local liquor bans. One case that we should look into is the CSR and the promotion of the industry as a partner in the COVID-19 response. So for example, in the Philippines, San Miguel Corporation, Tanduay Distillers and Asia Brewery Incorporation, and Emperador have converted their alcohol intended for their liquor businesses to millions of liters of 70% ethyl alcohol that is needed by the Department of Health, the police, and the local government units for frontline personnel fighting the COVID-19 outbreak in the initial response in the Philippines. And this has led to a legitimizing power for the alcohol industry, where later on this year, the Lushotan Group, which owns Tanduay Distillers and Asia Brewery, has stated that public-private partnerships will be the key for COVID-19 response, noting that from mass testing to vaccination, the government and the private sector working together can serve the Filipino people better, and wishing that the next administration can bring this forward, noting that there will be elections next year. Another case is the appeal to lift liquor bans or relaxing restrictions after COVID-19 related CSR activities or donations. For example, Asia Brewery and Tanaway Distillers, part of the LT Group, donated a 15 million peso biomolecular laboratory to the Philippine Red Cross in May 2020. This is at the same time when they, through the Center for Alcohol Research and Development Foundation, where Absolute Distillers, Emperador Distillers, and Ginebra San Miguel were part of, appealed to totally lift the ban or relax it on certain hours during which stores may sell liquor. Noting that allowing the resumption of the production of the excisable products such as tobacco and alcohol so that excise taxes and value-added tax may be generated by government to fund social welfare programs and for consumers not to turn to illicit products. Another case, which is the most worrying of all, is the Philippine CSR bill, which was passed in 2020. This was railroaded at the House of Representatives, or the lower house, in 2020 and revived surreptitiously during the COVID-19 pandemic. It provides incentives, rewards, government endorsement, or the perks for corporations to expand their CSR programs. The CSR-related activities embedded in the CSR bill included charitable programs and projects, scientific research, youth and sports development, cultural or educational promotion, services to veterans and senior citizens, social welfare, environmental sustainability, health development, disaster relief and assistance, socialized and low-cost housing, and employee and worker welfare, which all sound very familiar because this is the responsibility of the government. And from the main authors and sponsors of the bill, they said that CSR is a direct intervention by the private sector in which they get to spend money which should have been paid as taxes, but in an efficient manner without the overhead associated with the bureaucracy. Another sponsor of the bill said, "We cannot thank you enough pertaining to the companies for all that you have donated, from PPE to our frontliners to basic necessities and financial aid for those affected by the prolonged lockdown. May we continue to count on all of you until this pandemic is over." So as you can see, for governments and international government organizations and nonprofits, such engagements with alcohol industry CSR implies, one, strengthening the alcohol industry's discursive power, if I may quote Mickler from 2018. So CSR tends to enable, legitimize, and normalize the alcohol industry as a responsible actor in society despite their health harmful products. It also provides opportunities for SDG washing, greenwashing, blue washing, impact washing that we all have heard about. It also contributes to the building block of the corporate consumption complex. This includes misusing health promotion, where brand extension of low alcohol and zero alcohol products have contributed to alcoholic environments. And it also has weakened government's power to regulate corporations with voluntary pledges, voluntary codes, and self-regulation. As a way forward, we should be able to address, or at least recognize, that corporations, alcohol corporations in particular, along with the tobacco companies, are commercial determinants of health. And their CSR is also a commercial determinant of health, not just their advertising, promotion, and sponsorship. Recognizing alcohol corporations as political actors that use CSR to avoid, distract, delay government regulation, and acting on it. States do not need to further legitimize CSR as a tool for corporations by institutionalizing incentives and rewards for CSR in legislation, as we can see in the Philippines. So one solution or one way out of it is to promote a legally binding international instrument on alcohol control. And part of it is institutionalizing the SAFER initiative as part of an evidence-based legal instrument to counter, reduce, and prevent alcohol harms. And additionally, as noted in point 2, rather than moderating corporations, legitimizing CSR increases their discursive power and amplify the instrumental and structural power that they already possess. Also, as a side note, I would also like to promote the Asia-Pacific Alcohol Policy Alliance. We are still encouraging members to join us. So if you're an NGO committed, if you're an NGO or part of an NGO committed to promoting evidence-based alcohol control policies that are free from commercial interests, please join APAPA as an organizational member. You can follow us on Twitter at AsiaPac-APA or email us at apalcoholpolicyalliance@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening.